How did you first get into role-playing? What's your origin story?
Well, let's see. It was 1983, and NASA had launched the last of its deep space probes. I was sent out. No, hang on. That's another story. No, I was born in New Zealand, and I've lived here pretty much my whole life. And over in New Zealand, there wasn't a lot of role-playing games around when they were first invented. So my first exposure to an actual tabletop role-playing game was the Red Box set in 1984, I think it was. Before that, I'd been familiar with Choose Your Own Adventure books, and those were fairly popular, but still fairly obscure. But I really liked that format, and I thought this was something similar. And I liked the fantasy genre. My dad was an avid collector of science fiction and fantasy novels. A lot of classic 1950s, 1960s, 70s pulp science fiction books. And so I got the Red Box set, and I opened it up, and there were the booklets and the dice with the crayons and everything. And my experience with that was playing the solo game with Lena fighting the wizard Bargle. And then I was looking for other people who were interested in playing it, and I sort of put out feelers, and there was this new guy to school, and he approached me, and he wanted to sell me the blue companion, I think it was, the companion set. And I was like, well, instead of like selling me that and like neither of us playing, why don't we actually play role-playing games? And we got hold of some other people, and the first game that we actually played was not D&D Basic. In fact, I don't think we ever played D&D Basic. We just went straight into Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and Max and Ashley were the guys that mostly ran those. I didn't actually start DMing running games until much later on. Well, I suppose it wasn't that much later on. And that was Heroes Unlimited, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was my sort of first exposure to role-playing games. So Eric Wujcik was my first writer of role-playing games, and Kevin Simbeta and the whole Palladium Megaverse. And Palladium was quite crunchy and advanced at the time. And I never really bothered to learn the Dungeons and Dragons rules because I was always the DM, never the player. Always the DM, never the player in regards to that game. But I was, generally speaking, usually the DM of Palladium. And I didn't run a lot of Traveller, but we also played Traveller, and we played Paranoia. I didn't run Paranoia, but I played a lot of that. I don't think I had exposure to Call of Cthulhu until much later on. But all in all, since then I've played about 70 plus different role-playing game systems, and thoroughly enjoyed pretty much all of them. So that was my origin story.